going on, Jeromes? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day out there to those who celebrate. Got a really good feeling about today. It'll probably suck. But it's time for another Vikings news dump. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for coming along, consuming the content. And also, we're only 18 days until rookies report to TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill. It's starting. It's happening, man. Also, like some other teams reported, like the Bears will be there on the 16th. Crazy, man. They need all the time they can get. So a talking point that we'd sort of been tossing around, and Thielen putting out workout videos, like he's Suzanne Summers with J.J. McCarthy in the offseason, certainly has helped things. But we basically went through our conspiracy, man. I don't have the conspiracy graphic up, but I feel like there's a lot of moving parts here, because I feel like Thielen, to a degree, has buyer's remorse with the Panthers. Now, obviously, he's not mad about getting the bag. I mean, he got basically 2 years guaranteed at age 34, which is kind of amazing for a receiver. But I feel like if Thielen could have a mulligan, I think that he would have taken the pay cut to stay with the Vikings. I really believe that. All right. And yeah, things were a little bit messy there at the end. I mean, feelings were hurt, egos were bruised. Thielen's wife had some words for the fans. It happens, man. Like, try to show grace and, try to put yourself in their situation. Like, emotions are certainly there. So sort of understand it. But I feel like there's a lot of things going on. So we put this out yesterday. Thielen could have worked out with any quarterback in Minnesota. He picked the Vikings' future franchise quarterback. Again, he could have worked out with Mitch Leidner. Could have worked out with Zach Onixstad. I just made up that name. He could have worked out with that new Gophers quarterback from New Hampshire. They could have worked out with what was the name of the Gophers quarterback that was on the Vikings for 2 seconds? Tanner Morgan. There you go. All right, so there's a lot of quarterbacks out there. A lot of small schools out there, a lot of high-end high schools as well. So he could have caught balls from anyone, but he dialed up J.J. McCarthy. Number two, the workout video was professionally done by Weiss, respect, and published on number 19 social media. So he wanted it to get out there. Like, this wasn't some jabroni on a camera phone. Or recording on a jitterbug. No, this was like professionally done, and the message he wanted out there. Thielen is guaranteed $4.5 million of his $5.5 million base this year, whether Carolina cuts him or not. New team. So basically, if the Panthers do cut him, which again, there's a logjam at receiver, which is 0.4, because they traded for Deontay Johnson, they traded up for Xavier Leggett in the first round. They also have hope for Jonathan Mingo, the pride of Ole Miss, near 2, and Thielen could just straight up ask for his release. And the Panthers are sort of up against it with the salary cap, and they could get like some minimal relief. So the $4.5 million is going to be guaranteed for Thielen either way. But the new team signing him to the veteran minimum would offset what the Panthers owe him, and that would save on the cap. And 0.5, if Thielen is going to be a wide receiver 3, 4, 5, wherever he is, why not back in Minnesota where he's a minor DAD and where the team has non-garbage facilities? Because he sort of mentioned that too. I mean, Thielen was sort of spoiled during his NFL career, because even Winter Park was aight, but obviously TCO is world-class. Carolina, not so much. And Thielen last year, still had a 100 and 1,000 season. And even though a lot of that was in garbage time, I mean, look at Bryce Young was a rookie, not having good protection, and not having any other receivers of note to take pressure off of him, and he still did it. But too long to read. Adam Thielen should ask for his release from the Panthers and re-sign with the Vikings for the league minimum. Seems like he wants to return. And frankly, even though I do like the promise of Powell and Jalen Naylor and Trent Sherfield, Thayer Thomas, etc., Thielen would be able to hold his own as a wide receiver 3, 4, 5. Now, he would have to come in and fully understand that Jordan Addison is wide receiver 2. And I think that he would do that. But also just that the leadership, that institutional knowledge of the team. And remember, he did play in 2022 with O'Connell and company. I think that would have a lot of value. So I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Not saying, just saying. someone also saying is that there's going to be a legit punting battle coming up in training camp. Purple Persuasion put this together from Matt Lewis. Quote, Wright, whom the Vikings snagged as a UDFA last year, appeared to be something in his rookie season. That year, the Tulane product, blah, 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 blah. Vikings signed Seth Vernon, Portland State product, who went undrafted in 2022. Vernon arrived ready, impressed in organized team activities, and has launched a full-on competition. Kevin McConnell's view might mirror his approach to the offensive line. Best man wins, prioritize, be damned. And that's the way it should be. And hopefully this fight doesn't get canceled. Right. And Ryan Wright, so he was really right as a rookie, but he was really wrong last year. And he was just off. And you can't really blame like the coverage units either, because in my opinion, the punt coverage units were even better in 2023 versus 2022. But it was just a mess. And either way, Seth Vernon, maybe he wins a job or he pushes Ryan Wright to get his mind right, or I'll get it right for him. That sort of deal. So it's fun to have legitimate competitions in camp, and punter is going to be one of them. Also, speaking of legit, could the Vikings trade Lewis Cine? Now, the Vikings, if they traded Lewis Cine, would probably have to eat a significant portion of his remaining contract, because the final 2 years of his deal are still fully guaranteed as a first-round pick. And if they cut him, they would still have to eat that. Although if he signed somewhere else, the Vikings would be able to offset that. Similar to what we were talking about with Thielen. But Vikes fan page put this together. Who says no? Vikings receive wide receiver Treylon Burks. Titans get safety Lewis Cine. Will be a fresh start for two former first-round picks who didn't live up to their potential before their first contract ends. And I will be fine with Treylon Burks. I liked him coming out of Arkansas, and it just hasn't really clicked in Tennessee. And remember, he was drafted to basically one-for-one replace A.J. Brown. Not so much. But again, Kwesi loves mama, I can change him type players. And with Cine, it really is just a numbers game, where the Vikings go three deep at safety with Harrison, Beasley, and Metellus. And then also Jay Ward and Theo Jackson have looked really good during OTA. So it could be a spot where Cine would probably benefit from starting over somewhere else. It just didn't work out here, whether it was injury or whether it was the injury, and then the Vikings had a logjam at safety. But Burks, I would roll the dice on Burks. See what we got there. Something that we also have is a beautiful destination for free agents. So we put this out yesterday. You have a young and rising team, stars and future stars at key positions, organization that cares about players' families. And again, that goes back to the NFL PA voting for facilities and how teams treat family members on game day. And all that stuff matters. Like, yes, at the end of the day, money is what matters, number one, but being treated like a human being and not just a number, not just a line on a spreadsheet, like that matters too. World-class facilities here at TCO. Don't have to buy your own dinner. Also, the culture that Kwesi and Kevin McConnell have built, plus tons of cap space. Minnesota is going to be the number one free agent destination for the foreseeable future. And like we said, it really comes down to money, but all these other ancillary benefits and intangibles, they matter as well. And the chance to be a part of a young winning team that looks to be good for the foreseeable future, that does matter as well. So I think the Vikings go out there and slang it, man. Like Creed Humphrey, Ali McNeil, need both of them. Bring it on, man. It's what we need. Also what we need. So I feel like Dalvin is sort of angling like Adam Thielen's like, hey, maybe we run it back. I don't know, but Dalvin's been active on social media. The free agent running back has been putting out a lot of Vikings, responding and quote tweeting a lot of, and also posting on Instagram stories a lot of Vikings highlights. And he highlighted the Vikings versus Bills 2022 game, which is really great. So the NFL put out greatest regular season game in NFL history. You don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but it's got to be in the conversation. Like at minimum, it's top 5. Right, because there's so many insane moments from this game. Remember the Vikings were getting their asses kicked, and then the fourth and forever, Kirk just sort of throws up to JJ, and he has that legendary catch. Dalvin breaks off that long touchdown run, which sort of got things going. The Kirk Cousins goal line stuff, and then Josh Allen trying to sneak it out of the shadow of the Bills' end zone. fumbles. Kendricks recovers for the touchdown. Gabe Davis is just handed a stupid sideline catch where under 2 minutes, then the NFL didn't review. Shocker. And then the Patrick Peterson interception. And also, this game, the insanity of this game, and also the Justin Jefferson catch, really overshadowed Stephon Diggs had maybe a top 10 catch in NFL history in this game as well, and no one remembers it. Respect where it's due. Like, Thielen had an insane grab in this game, but best regular season game of all time. I mean, it's got to be in the conversation. Something that's not a conversation is the Prince Super Bowl halftime show is one of one. There is no other one, and him playing in the rain, him covering Jimi Hendrix and Foo Fighter songs, it was just glorious, man. Plus, the Purple Rain was haunting. And so right now at NFL Network, since they don't have any original programming over the summer, they're just playing like Players' Choice games, and they played the Super Bowl between the Colts and the Bears from the 2006 season. Yeah, Sexy Rexy Grossman making a Super Bowl. Only in America, man. But yeah, because watching this game right before halftime, the Colts were down. They're getting their asses kicked because they decided to kick at Devin Hester. Seems like a bad idea. But so I'll be honest. I'll watch the Prince Super Bowl halftime show maybe once a week and get emotional every single time. Just the talent that dude had. Not only in basketball, R.I.P. Charlie Murphy, but just as an artist, and pun intended, right? And the fact that he loved the great state of Minnesota. I mean, it's where he was raised, and that's where he lived, and that's where he wanted to be. It's just amazing. True talent gone way too soon. But I feel like, what is it with musical artists? Like, I feel like they all pass away before their time. And I don't know, maybe it's the lifestyle, maybe it's other things. Just unfortunate. Yeah. That's a downer note. No. What's something that's happy? Oh yeah, Bills Vikings. But that's it. Wednesday, Vikings news dump. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull production value.